Oh, good day. Hope everything is going all right for y'all. I'll go ahead and get started. So today's session is going to be about what I didn't know I didn't know. Here's your obligatory disclaimer. I believe you all saw this last time, so I'll go ahead. Remember to come into these as a sort of blank slate. Pretend you know nothing. This is for those who have not been able to join the WhatsApp group or are on YouTube. These are topics I posted in there that may be helpful to those who are not in the chat. So on the YouTube video, you may pause and go through these. And as I mentioned in the chat, I will give you guys the opportunity to recognize your progress this week. If you guys have something you would like to share about your progress related to our sessions or overall in general, now is the time. So feel free to unmute and let us know your progress. If you feel like you have anything you'd like to share. I know one of our members from last week said that after practicing their breath work, they started to feel a weight lifted off their shoulders. They were just able to not worry so much during their day to day. So that was good to hear, especially after one session. All right, so if no one's got anything else to say, I'll go ahead and continue. So back to Socrates, there has to be something we can know, right? So let's see what Rene Descartes says. He thinks cogito ergo sum. I think therefore I am, maybe something that we can know. This sounds pretty good, right? I'm thinking right now, can't really dispute that. But first, our opening meditation. Because we want to be in that receptive, calm state whenever we're learning something. So I'll go ahead and get that started for y'all. Go ahead and visualize a space that feels safe and relaxing. Let's begin by gently bringing your attention inward. You can be sitting upright with both feet on the floor or lie down if your body feels like you want to do so. Let your hands rest where they feel natural. Be in a position where you feel like there's no effort needed. And when you're ready, allow your eyes to softly close, or you may simply lower your gaze. You can use the image on the screen to help take you to a place that's calm and relaxing. Let's go ahead and take a deep, easy breath in through the nose and a long, steady breath out through the mouth. Another deep breath in and a longer, steady breath out. Let your exhale invite you downward, within, into stillness. Breath in and a breath out. So let's go ahead and bring your attention to the sensations in your body, starting at the top of your head. No need to analyze or fix anything, just notice. Slowly move through the crown of your head, your forehead, your jaw, your throat, your neck, your shoulders, your arms, torso, your hands, your belly, your back, your hips, your legs, your feet. You feel any tension in you? What parts of you are at ease? You're not judging, just listening. Let each part soften just a little more with each breath out. You don't have to force the body to relax. You're just making space for it to do what it already knows how to do. Sit here and breathe. Breath in and out. Okay, good. So Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. That's got to be right, right? Not quite. The statement is what you could say limited, that he was on the right track. To understand why he's slightly off, you first have to understand a few things about the structure of reality itself, which tends to be out of reach for the average person. But it doesn't have to be, which leads us to what you don't know that you don't know. And then we have Einstein over here letting us know his thoughts on reality itself. I mentioned illusion last time. I'll mention it again. Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. Now, remember when we're talking illusion, doesn't necessarily mean negative, but it doesn't. The idea is that what we are perceiving may not be what's actually going on. Okay, so what you didn't know, you didn't know. You are not your mental constructs. You're not your thoughts. So most people assume that the thoughts in their head are me, but they are not. It's a stream of conditioned, reactive, recycled thought. So the idea of what is you is immutable. There, if it changes, it can't be you. Okay, so if it's changing, if it has the ability to change, there's an idea that it does not persist. So therefore, it can't be you. That includes your beliefs. Think back to when a belief of yours has changed. You're not your opinions. Think back to when an opinion of yours has changed. Think back to your knowledge. When has your knowledge of something changed? Even in the collective, we used to think that lobotomies were good for you. Not so much anymore. You are not your conditioning. So, how you were raised, the conditions that led to becoming the personality you are today, that can be changed. You're not your story. Who are you? What's attached to the definition of your name? What's attached within you to your experience? Are you attached to your name itself? That is story and can be changed. You are not your trauma. So back to experiences in life, trauma does not define you. You're not your emotional states, not your anxiety, you're not your depression, you're not your fear, you're not your anger, you're not your joy. These things flow through you. And sometimes if you're not processing them correctly, they can stick in you, but they can be released and they are not part of what defines you. You are not your social labels and roles. You're not your job. You're not your name. You're not your gender. You're not your age. You're not your political identity. You are not your relationship status. You are not your past mistakes. And you are not your achievements. So people get into mental issues a lot when they overly attach to things that are not themselves. In a sense, you may think of the idea of a man that loses his job and he believes his identity and his worth depends on whether he has a job or not, whether he's able to provide. Therefore, he starts to spiral. That's overly attached to his status, his social label, his role of having a job. And a lot of people tend to base their worth on whether they're in a relationship or not. So they lose track of the wholeness within themselves and believe that if they are not in a relationship, that reflects to them that they are unworthy. Some people connect to past mistakes and never forgive themselves. Some people have been raised to be attached to their achievements. Say you have overly demanding parents, so that develops a sense within yourself that if you're not achieving, then you are not worthy. You are not your reflections. How other people see you does not define you. If you're on social media, your followers, likes, or image do not define you. Some people, especially this age, are becoming attached to their worth being related to how many people like what they share online. And if certain people don't like them, then that puts them into a negative spiral. They're like, why isn't this making me happy? Because you're attached to that image that's not actually you. You are not your projections that are placed on you. So projections are an idea we'll discuss in depth later on, but it's the idea of other people putting what they understand reality to be onto you. So it's not even not even a accurate example of an understanding of you, but it's their version of you and how they are perceiving you based on that. So an example of this is if someone has only known that the people around them will say backstab them, then every move that you make, they're looking within themselves at you with that thought that you're going to be backstabbing them at any time. So they're going to have an altered perception of reality that's not actually based on what you're doing. And you can have the same on someone else, depending on what you're projecting outwards. You may not be perceiving someone's actions in the sense that they are trying to do them. So there's a sense of illusion there. You're not your performance. You're not your productivity. This one's a big one for a lot of people. They think if I'm not productive today, I'm being lazy or I'm not worthy. Some sense of those. They're attaching their worth to productivity, and They never let themselves rest. And you are not your body. I'll repeat that one. You're not your body, shape, or appearance. So one of the big things in spirituality is a dissociation from the connection to your body, from the attachment to your body. You're not your inner layers. So these include the ego. Specifically, we want to target the negative ego. In spirituality, there tends to be a focus on ego in general, saying you've got to kill your ego or something like that. But that's not what we're going to be practicing here. All parts of you deserve love. Do not be at war with parts within you. The idea is to integrate through loving actions. So integrate means to pull them back into alignment with your true self. Because the ego, when operating as it's meant to be instead of operating from the physical mind, is a great tool for navigating the 3D life. You are not your habits. Habits are built up over time and mostly unconscious. Once you recognize a habit, it's no longer a habit and is a conscious choice. You are not your shame. You're not your defense mechanisms. This relates to the 4 Fs: fight, flight, fawn, and freeze. We'll go over those more in detail later. You are not your survival self. This goes back to the negative ego, where the ego itself is meant to help you survive, right? So when we're in our day-to-day lives, we aren't really fighting for survival. So your ego tends to attach to things to make it feel like it's doing something. And these can build up over time and create that negative ego that's in the way of living your true life. You are not the voice that doubts you. Basically, any negative thoughts in your head are not you, and they are not true. And we'll get to the idea of we are sovereign beings, very powerful and eternal, experiencing a 3D life of limitation. So once we get back to that understanding, we are basically unstoppable. So anything that is not saying that is negative and not true. So what are you then if you're not all those things? You are the awareness itself. You are the watcher that sees you in those states. You are the presence that sees, the breath before the thought, the stillness beneath the noise, and witness to all experience, the light that shines through. And it's very hard to put this into words. So these are some of our best attempts. Language may include that one day once it becomes more spread as an idea and as an experience. Okay, so after all that, we kind of have an answer to Descartes now. Better statement would be, instead of I think, therefore I am, I am. And throughout history, we have this idea expressed in many different ways, many different religions and practices. In Hinduism, we get I am that. In the Bible, we get I am that I am. In Buddhism, we see anatta, no self, non-self. That's in reference to the ego mind. When we get rid of the ego mind, we realize the I am. In the Vedic or Advaita Vedanta, we get the I am Brahman, and Brahman is the infinite, the absolute reality. And it's realizing beyond the 3D, we are more, we are infinite. In Taoism, we get Wu Wei, non-doing, effortless action. We live in a state of flow when we have the ego and the fragments of ourself aligned. There's nothing in the way of just being. In Islam, we get Anihu, I am he or I am that. This matches up with the Hindu idea. So we're getting that sense of spirituality transcends the practices that are taken a part of throughout the world, right? So last time I said, you can still be spiritual with a religion. This kind of reinforces that. So the true you is awareness itself. All experience is valid. Remind yourself that valid does not mean true, but it is an experience that is for you. I'll repeat that experience is valid, but not necessarily true. Okay, so we're tying in the idea of illusion. Even in the illusion, what you experience at the time is for you. So the awareness is thought of the silent witness, the seer behind your eyes. You're the one that observes thought, sensation, in the world and is untouched by them. So if you are feeling touched by the thoughts, sensations in the world, you're not living as the witness. You're living as the ego self, the personality mind. So you are the life force and vital essence, the breath before the breath. You are the spark of aliveness animating the body, not the body itself, but the animating current flowing through it. This is why we say you are not your body. Your body is a construct allowing you to go through this 3D experience. You are a core, you have a core frequency, a soul signature. That's your unique selfness that is coming from your higher self. You know, many people refer to this as aura. This frequency never changes. And if it's seeming that you're low frequency, it's because you have things piled upon you that are not your true self. You are infinite stillness and spaciousness. So you're not the contents of your mind, you're the space the contents arise in. And that space is intelligent, loving, and aware. It's not empty, it's full of presence. The true you has the unconditional capacity to love and be love. And at the core, you are love without demand. So that's what it means to be unconditionally loving, is you don't love based on the condition that you're receiving it back. So no matter what's going on, whether you're wounded or guarding, the true inner you radiates compassion, love, light for all. You are the creative intelligence, not what you know, not what you think you know, but there's a flow within you that when you're connected to, just exudes itself effortlessly. So the more in tune with your true self you are, the more ideas just flow through you. You don't have to try, you won't be blocked. You are the presence that cannot be broken. You might be forgetting who you are right now, but you can't stop being it. Nothing you go through, no trauma, no label or mistake can touch the core of your truth. If you're feeling that it has, you're associating with the ego self, your personality self. And then the true you allows you to experience the unity with all that is. You understand that you're not separate, that you're a fractal of the whole. And at the deepest level, you are not only yourself, you're the entire field seen through a U-shaped lens. So where are we going with this? The idea is that we're here for attending this seminar for a reason, right? We are noticing that our lives are not maybe going the way that we would like them to be. I'm getting a notification that the time may run out soon, so just go ahead and click back in when it does cut out. Returning to your true self, you clear out the things that aren't you that I described earlier, like negative beliefs. Basically, the concept is letting go. How much are you holding on to things that you know you're holding on to that you don't know you're holding on to? Healing, bringing yourself back to the present, raising your frequency by clearing out the things that are blocking it. Remember, our frequency is naturally a high one, and it's stuff we put in the way that lowers it, not us having to build a frequency, a return to our high frequency. Practicing healthy detachment, not overly attaching to ideas, how things quote unquote should be, etc. So how do we do that? To borrow a term from another guide, we will use the term permission slips. So what is a permission slip? First, we need to have a core necessary understanding that we haven't explored as of yet. You create your reality. It's part of being a powerful sovereign being. You're going to take this as true for now, and it will be explored later. This is related to the statement, reality is an illusion. In science, we're getting the understanding that 3D reality is holographic in nature. This is what we're talking about. So a permission slip is anything, a practice, tool, technique, ritual, object, belief system, etc., that allows you to be more of your true self. Keyword anything. So The idea is that the true self is naturally capable of what permission slips help you to do. They let you give yourself permission to bypass the limitations of the not you, the personality mind, the negative ego, the fragments that are blocking you. They get in the way of being your true self. So one example, everybody's favorite, is meditation. And one thing meditation can do is bring you back to the present, which is a natural state of the true self. So you use meditation to allow yourself to be more present. That's a permission slip. A permission slip gives you back your power. If there's any power taken away through your practice, it is not a true permission slip. The permission slip itself doesn't hold the power. You have always had the power, but you've been preventing yourself from realizing it. Key idea, if there's any power taken away in a practice, it is not a true permission slip. That includes taking other powers away, so harmful actions. One could say that scamming people monetarily is a permission slip for them to be more abundant. That is not true. Harming others will not allow you to be more of your true self. It will continue to block you. So it is your belief in the effectiveness of the permission slip and its relevance to your personality theme, we'll get into that later, that determines if it will work for you. So we're getting into the idea of belief affecting your reality. So this is why I give the disclaimer that meditation works for most people. The collective beliefs around meditation allow it to work for most people. The core agreement in the collective has decided that this reality allows meditation to be that for most people. This also means that meditation is not necessarily the best practice for some people. So there are things that can work better for people based on their beliefs, their conditioning, what have you. What they are meant to experience in this life may not be meditative in nature. So how do we align with the true self through permission slips? It's a good time to remind you that everybody has their own paths and different things will work at different success levels for different people. Bring yourself back to the blank slate. You may have attachments to things like meditation due to how commonly they are associated with spirituality. But it's important to pay attention to what resonates with you and not what will impress. So this goes back to wanting to do something because it has status associated with it. You should do what aligns with your true self and not what will impress. One example of that is, say, you want to be spiritual to learn levitation. That is not the goal of spirituality. Those sort of abilities are side effects of becoming more of your true self. Use your intuition to tell if something will work for you. Set your intentions clearly. Understand your beliefs around permission slips. So the strength of what you can experience in reality kind of goes along this line. This is very abbreviated, but disbelief, you're not going to experience benefits from or experience it at all in your reality. If there's a core part of you that doesn't believe something's going to work, it will not work. Some may have a rebuttal that something does work even if you don't believe in it. It's because there may be core parts within you that are unconscious that still hold the belief, or it's reflective of the beliefs of the collective. Neutrality allows things to start to happen Openness invites them. Belief is strong and allows it more fully, and then knowing is part of the true self. So it's like if I asked you to walk to grab something, you wouldn't think about it twice, right? So that's the kind of knowing that's required to put something into your reality through the use of your permission slips. You use permission slips fully, but free from attachment. The goal is that permission slips get you back to the state of your true self, which doesn't need the permission slip anymore. Once learned, it can become a crutch if you remain attached to it, saying, oh, I can only be present when I'm meditating. That's a crutch. You've attached yourself to meditation. Of course, that's after you've learned and become comfortable with the idea. Last time I said in the about me, I have a consistent meditation all the time. That's a general statement that summarizes my state for the average person, but as we progress, I'll let you know more and more what's accurate about what I'm doing. So practicing meditation allowed me to maintain a state of presence naturally, i.e., I returned to more of my true self. So constantly present is a better accurate description of my current state. So here is a list of permission slips. I'm not including meditation because everybody knows that one. In spiritual metaphysical field, we have crystals. If you ever heard of crystals give you energy or help me do something, that is a permission slip. It is the true self that is actually doing the activity, the achieving the result. Whenever you're clearing or pushing away negative energy, that is your true self. You can help yourself do this by, say, smudging with sage or Palo Santo. It's like when you see so smudging with sage or Palo Santo is a permission slip to clear out negative energy in the space. The true self does this naturally when you are aligned with it. Use of the chakras, use of oracle or tarot cards. You're connecting to reading the energy of people's states naturally, but using the cards to permit yourself to do so. Using astrology, any rituals, energy healing, using sacred symbols to believe in your protectedness, your connectedness, plant medicine or psychedelics. You believe that the plant will take you to a state you can't normally achieve.
Hey, Justin,
Yeah.
I'm not seeing the screen or presentation.
Okay, thanks for that.
Mhm.
All right, there we go. Screen's up.
Looks good.
All right. Then we have permission slips in more of the science field, the therapeutic, psychological. Just being with somebody can allow yourself to feel more safety. It gives yourself internal permission to feel more safe, to feel like you can let things go. Your true self can do this naturally. So the therapist is a permission slip in the sense that they will let you feel like you can let things go. Affirmations or permission slip to think what your true self would be thinking. Diagnosis or labels can sometimes offer a framework that gives permission to begin healing. Sometimes you don't know that something may not be aligned. So having those labels may allow you to start focusing on them. Journaling is typically a strong and useful permission slip. It generates a out of me experience where once you write something down, you can reread it and be disassociated from it in a different way that you aren't typically in your head. So that's a permission slip of stepping back and viewing things from a different angle. There's the idea of somatic tracking. There's many practices in therapy that are regarding actions taken on your body, like tapping certain parts that are calming. So that action is a permission slip to be able to feel and release things within the body. Breath work is an exercise in permission slips. It allows you to return to your true self, access that safety, feel expansion, etc. If you've ever felt like you can't sleep without a weighted blanket, the weighted blanket is a permission slip to feel safe and grounded. Science and medicine itself are permission slips. They allow the study of the collective reality experience to inform how we interact with our experienced reality. So think about the placebo effect. If you don't know what the placebo effect is, it's basically a patient is giving what they think is medicine for their symptoms, but in actuality, it's something like a sugar pill. And the patient, based on different factors, can heal themselves even though all they took was sugar. So that is a sort of proof of the illusion of reality, right? So there's a factor of the brain and the neuroplasticity. The brain itself takes actions to heal. The mind takes actions to heal. And then the true self takes actions to heal based on the beliefs. So the belief being that the drug that you're taking will cure you, and the outcome is that the body initiates its natural healing that had been blocked by whatever limiting beliefs are being held within the person. So permission slips in everyday personal growth or practices. They can be apps, applications, AI, self-help books. Um, you know how to be your true self, but you create the experience of being lost, of being unconnected to yourself. So self-help books help you to connect through the external permission slip. Productivity planners, structuring your life, more affirmations, things, saying things like "I deserve this," clothing, ritual, jewelry items. If you ever hear someone saying, "I wear this because it makes me feel good," that's a permission slip to feel good. You don't need the item to feel good, but due to your belief systems, you are using that item to access that state. Clean spaces or even messy spaces, um, allowing you to be more of your true self by feeling comfortable. This one's an easy one to be attached to and turn it into a crutch. But just the recognition that the area you're in can be a permission slip, such as going out in nature, which is over here as well. You don't need nature per se to be in the state that being in nature brings you. Any hobby that is aligned with your true self is a permission slip. So that includes things like body movement and dance, music healing, those sort of things. Social cultural permission slips, like I said, being in nature, sacred tattoos. You may feel more connected to your themes if you have a tattoo on you. Say like a butterfly. Music and sound frequencies, they allow us to resonate with those and shift into the desired states. But the true self, when is free to do that. So that's where the music and sound frequencies come in as permission slips. Your religions, religious icons, relics. We get into the idea that things like prayer and faith allow you to be more aligned with your true self if you're following the positive energies and belief systems, and not so much believing in the fear-based things. Initiation ceremonies, rites of passage. So the idea here being, say like you don't believe that you are at a certain stage without the proper recognition from another. So like a guru initiating someone to their next level. You don't believe you're at that stage until someone else says you are. So the permission slip comes in to allow yourself to access that stage, which the true self doesn't need, but due to our negative egos and beliefs, that becomes the step that we are needing within ourselves to advance. And that flows into the next, that even a teacher or mentor is needed by maybe saying it's okay now, you're doing good, to give yourself that outside validation that you're doing good. So we have a bit of another disclaimer here that just because you are seeing these in a new light doesn't mean they don't have their own properties in existence. So like I said earlier, the idea is that we create our reality and it's illusionary, but that doesn't mean the other things don't exist on their own, in their own right. However, they are your representations of them in your personal reality, which we'll discuss more in depth later. It's not so important at the moment because we're trying to get you into the state of clearing out what's keeping you from being your true self, and then the true understanding of reality will come with that. So that's an explanation of why they can affect you, quote unquote. All right, so here's our integration invitation this week. I want you to try to find a guided grounding meditation on YouTube and try it out. Go ahead and try to think about the permission slips you use in your life and what you could be using. And then also detaching from what you think will be good permission slips for you and trying to get into the idea of exploring and actually recognizing, feeling what might be good for you. So a good one for a lot of people is going into nature. Try not to have a negative association with these permission slips, as in thinking that using a permission slip is bad. It is not. It is just a idea of how these things actually work. I myself used meditation, still use meditation to allow myself to be more of my true self. I also use going out in nature. So just the recognition of these doesn't mean that they are invalid. And throughout the week, go ahead and try to find ways to be present. So we experience some presence with our breath work and with our grounding meditations on YouTube, we'll experience finding presence through meditation. So hopefully we can try to expand that beyond the guided nature of YouTube or my sessions. All right, any questions? Any feedback, suggestions? All right, thank you all for joining. We have a bit of time still in this meeting if anybody would like to do a meditation again. We'll go ahead and do a sort of guided meditation. Set the frame for you guys. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and get back to the state we had previously. Let's have a bit of a practice of remembering previous states and accessing them quicker. There's an idea of if you can remember a state, you're already in the state, or otherwise you wouldn't be able to remember it. So if you can remember previously being calm, you can return yourself to that state immediately. So once again, let's begin by gently bringing your attention inward. Make sure that your hands are resting where they feel natural. Do a quick scan of your body. Notice where you're holding tension. And take a deep breath in. And with the exhale, feel as if you're releasing that tension. You just exercised a permission slip to release tension. Congratulations. Let's take another deep breath in. And now releasing more tension in your body. Let's keep doing this until you are a puddle on the floor. You have no tension whatsoever. See if you'd feel any of your energy that is pent up in your body. Breathe into it. And as you exhale, imagine it blowing out through your breath. If you're holding any stress or anxiety, breathe in, direct it to that spot. There you feel it in, and then allow it to be carried out with the exhale. Let that emotion be released. Allow yourself to let your exhales guide you inward into stillness. Now we'll bring your attention to the parts of your body that are touching the ground, chair, or any surface. Imagine this contact to be connected to the earth. Feel the solidity of that support beneath you. And let your body feel held, know the support. As if gravity itself is saying, you don't need to hold yourself up right now. I've got you. Notice the weight of your body, the stability in your legs and feet, the contact with what's holding you. You don't have to be anywhere else right now. And right now, this moment is enough. You are enough. At all times, you are enough. Feel the support from the earth. Take another deep breath in. And exhale into that support, that connection with the earth. Now let's guide our attention to your inner space. Without judgment, ask yourself, how am I right now? Is there still any restlessness, Are you calm? Are you feeling any tightness still? Are you feeling openness? Just observe, no judgment. You don't need to name it perfectly, just feel into it. This is a practice in recognizing your inner states, your inner experience. By naming, we give a sense of separation from the true self. By naming anger or anxiety, we can recognize this is not me. I am not my emotion. And later we'll learn how to make it so we aren't feeling these things. Now, on your next inhale, imagine your breath is creating a little more room inside. Space to feel, space to just be. Sit here in the silence for a few more seconds, just breathing, just being. Okay, go ahead and start to bring your awareness back to your surroundings. Feel the floor beneath your feet. Wiggle your fingers or toes if that feels good to you. Let's take one more deep breath in and exhale slowly. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes and feel free to carry this grounded awareness with you into the rest of your day, your week, your life. Once again, thank you all for joining today.